I just grabbed the wheel right there. What are we talking about?
Every time you grab the wheel, we end up at an Alanis Morissette conversation.
True.
What I was going to say.
She makes me angry. And again, not her person, but listening to her voice, it does. It just makes you want to, you know what, let me, somebody just go ahead and take your nails and just write down the chalkboard, right?
I don't think I've ever actually heard nails on a chalkboard. I really don't think I've heard like when sometimes you get like the fork across the plate. I hate the fork across the plate.
Man,
I do hate that.
That's brutal.
Now, back to my sentence from an hour ago.
Yeah.
I don't mind the rain today. It needs to not rain tomorrow because we're going to be out at Salt River Fields for D-backs Rangers, or as I like to call it,
Man, I cannot wait for that. We're going to be out there 3 times this spring, correct?
Yeah.
3 times. The number is 3, Bates and O'Neills. We're going to be out there starting with number 1. The first game, of course, is tomorrow, and hopefully you're going to be able to see us. I think they're going to put us out there in the left field, right? That's where we typically do our broadcast right there.
I would say you'll be able to find me with the bright teal hat, but those are impossible to obtain.
You still can't get that?
No, apparently nobody can. I just thought that I had not gone through all the necessary avenues, but those don't exist now unless you're on the team. All right, we'll get into that in a little bit, but let's start with the Suns. And a win yesterday in a game that I'll just say I'm glad they won, Wolf, because if they were coming into today on a 3-game losing streak out of the break with a loss to Dallas, which is always frustrating, a loss to Houston on Friday night, and then potentially a loss to the Lakers, this could have been a much different conversation. Yesterday, though, they get it done. They have now won 2 straight over the Lakers.
You know, I do not want to blow this out of proportion. I really don't, Baysonians, but to me, I think the Suns narrowly avoided a semi-disaster on Sunday by beating the Lakers and winning that game. Honestly, when you look at their schedule and how difficult their schedule is, it's the toughest in the association.
Gotta beat
and
the
we've
Houston
been talking
Rockets.
about that for a long, long time. Yeah. You cannot afford, Luke, to be giving away games to teams you're better than. You can't. Now, do I understand what it's like to go out there and compete against the very best? Brothers and sisters, yes, I do. And sometimes you're going to go out there and you think you're ready to go and you're not, and you're going to lose. I get that. But, man, to come out of the All-Star break 0-3, if they would have lost that game to the Lakers yesterday, I think that would have been a mini disaster.
Well, I'll say this to back you up, okay? We're at the point of the season now where the standings matter. There's 24 games left. We're into the final third of the season, okay? And like you just said, the Suns have the most difficult schedule just in terms of, opponent win-loss percentage and all that. Really, their only, quote, easy games are the 3 they had against the Rockets. Now they have 2, and they already lost the first one. 2 against the Spurs, and then there's a couple, I think there's an Atlanta and a Toronto thrown in there. But everybody else is playoff team, and most of them are title contenders. That's their stretch run here. And we talked about this last week. The biggest thing is can you improve over this stretch because it will get you ready for the playoffs.
Sure.
But there is a lot of value, man, in staying in the top 6 in the Western Conference. And just to put this in perspective, if the Suns had lost yesterday, they would be lined up for a play-in matchup with Dallas. A team they just can't seem to figure out.
I know, that's brutal right there.
And if they had lost that, because it's just a it's just a one-off, then they'd be playing either the Lakers or the Warriors, and their season would be on the line. I mean, if you're in the play-in, your season can be on the line within a game or 2.
Yeah.
So it's important to stay in the top 6.
Yeah, for me, again, I go back to the individual play and I go back to the team concept as well when I think about this. And, I realize 0-3 when you still have 24 more games to go and you're 10 games above 500 right now. I understand. We'll turn this around right now. But I also understand some of the impact that losing to an inferior team can have on a locker room. Okay? It's not like I played on a bunch of great teams where I walked into every game thinking, we're going to beat these guys, and we all understand we're going to beat these. I haven't had a ton of experience with that, but I can tell you it did happen to me from time to time, especially at the college level, where we knew we were a better team. We were a better team than Temple. We were going to hammer the Owls, right?
We just
knew we were a better team. we were a better team than Syracuse. Sorry, Orange. Even though it was my older brother Craig's alma mater, we're going to hammer you. Okay, we just knew that.
Isn't that where Dave Pash went?
And
You're just taking shots now?
Yes, exactly, right. David. Behuddle. And, when you lose those games, man, there's a seed of doubt that suddenly starts creeping in. I don't care if you're talking about the NBA level. I don't care if you're talking college, pro, whatever it may be. You compete at a super high level, and, man, doubt starts to creep into your brain when you lose to inferior opponents.
None of these other teams around them in the Western Conference are going to wait for them to get back on track either. It's not going to be like, well, we understand you lost a few in a row, but you don't have Bradley Beal, so go ahead. We'll wait. We'll wait till you guys get going. They will get past. And this applies really to any team outside, I would say, like the top, 3 in the Western Conference, top 4, I guess. If you stumble at all, you're going to get past.
Yes.
And the Suns, coming out of the All-Star break, it didn't look that crazy that maybe they could sneak into a top 4 spot, and they still can. They're only 4 out of 4th, but they're also only a half game out of dropping to 8th. And so that's even just losing 2 will do that damage to you, especially when you lose to teams around you in the standings like that Dallas one. Now, yesterday they did win, and they beat the Lakers, and it's, like I said, the second time they've beaten the Lakers after they started 0-3 against them. We'll get deeper into this throughout the show, but, they had a lot of guys step up. Bradley Beal didn't play. That's something we're going to have to get into at some point here because whatever happened to the whole, hey, the All-Star break came at the right time, and Brad will be back for the game against Dallas last Thursday.
Yeah, you know what? I think he probably suffered, this is just me, nobody's told me this, probably suffered a bit of a setback.
Great.
Little tweak in practice. That's what I'm guessing.
Well, then I'm going to go to break, and I might not be here when we come back.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.